Welcome to the Polishing Profits Podcast, where we discuss all things related to the business of detailing. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, this podcast is for you. In each episode, we'll cover topics ranging from business management to marketing solutions. Here to help you grow your detailing business, your hosts, Nick and Dustin.
All right.
What's
we are
up,
live. What's up, Nicholas? How you doing?
I am juiced up on a Friday.
Juiced up.
Yep.
Man, I'm juiced down on a Friday.
Dustin, come on.
I'm good. I think I'm lacking caffeine, and
Yeah, where's your Celsius?
Nah, they made me quit those.
They made you quit those.
Yeah,
I just had to buy two of those at Costco.
They're
expensive.
You're gonna have a heart attack. Yeah, they are kind of pricey.
I don't even drink them. Sarah uses them.
Yeah, she uses them.
I'm on a drip IV.
She's on the Celsius, huh? It's got her.
Yep. That's what gets her. She's got the 4. Yeah, she's got that 4 a.m. workout. You know, got to give her credit.
Does she really?
Yeah.
No, so yours is late night, and hers is early morning.
Night, she's early morning.
Mine's both right now.
Are you doing another 75 hard or something?
I'm doing it. I'm 11. No, I'm 12 days into 75 hard for the second time in this year, but third time in my life. But yeah. So and then I had a workout when I got home. I went to dinner with my dad and family and Chelsea and Demi and for his birthday, and so he didn't get back till like 9:30 last night, and I still had to do.
That's late for you. That's
oh my God, that's so late for me. Like, yeah, it's not. I'm not kidding. That is so late for me. But so we I decided to get it, and it was. I just ended up walking for 45 minutes because that's fine, that's good, and it's a good recovery walk. I'd swim, I think 1,050 yesterday morning, and we did a different swim, where it was a lot of strength training, so it was a good workout.
That gets that gets you, primed and ready for the day, primed and ready for a life of the Dustin Jackson.
It does. It does. That's what keeps me going in the right direction, and without it, I feel a little lost. That's where that's where like my self-discipline and my good decisions come into play, and like those things kind of lead into a better day for me.
And then, but you do all those things, good decisions, right? But you're human. You're still, let's just say you're feeling dragging right now. You've got 75 other things you got to be doing right now, right?
So I had a cookie on the way up here, man. I'm human.
Oh God.
I had a cookie, and I was literally going to text Brittany and say, Brittany, I need you to come up with a list of the things I need to do, because I feel like I've promised a lot of people a lot of shit in the last few days, and I haven't done any of it. So there's some things I need to be doing.
Okay, that's gonna be a long one for you today, but you know what? You still made the time to be here for the people.
Oh, right? Listen, this kind of crowd, I mean, it just draws you in.
And the audience was wild.
Yeah, I mean,
like one of those stadiums where it's just packed. It's just
I used to get butterflies and stuff. Now it's just natural to me, just seeing everybody around here, and just I had to do autographs and PR stuff.
That's funny.
But security's doing their best to keep everybody at bay.
Yep. So what do we got this week?
This week the topic is cars from hell. Yeah. You brought that to us, and so I figured we would chat a little bit about that and the impact of, those unexpected challenges. I think that's probably the best way to sum it up, is unexpected challenges, and we'll talk a little bit about that and how that kind of goes inside your business, and then also we got the holidays coming up, so we'll give those things some time.
Yeah. So for us, it's real life. We come on here, we got stuff going on. We've got a car from hell in the shop right now.
Yeah.
And I think you've been there. I'm sure people listening have been there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're shampooing 2018 BMW X5.
Yeah.
Car's known for having some issues, I guess you could say. They got a lot of fun electronics in there. And so we're shampooing the passenger side floor. It's got salt. We gotta get it a little wet to get up that salt a little bit. We're extracting it. We're doing all that. All of a sudden, the windshield wipers go bananas.
Yeah.
And I'm there, turning in Corvette PPF. I'm there with the customer, and out of the corner of my eye, you're like having a good day.
Right.
We see you.
Just that fast.
The windshield wipers going, and I'm like, what
fuck? And I'm talking to the guy, I'm playing it cool. I'm like, okay, let's get this car out of here. Make sure this customer's good and happy.
Right.
And then I go back and I'm like, guys, what's going on? He's like, yeah, I don't know why this windshield wiper going crazy. I'm not even working. You know what I mean?
Nowhere near it.
Nowhere near it. Like, okay, hey, let me call the customer because, of course, we're going to communicate right away and ask them, do you want us to continue? We can disconnect the battery. We can finish the job, drive everything out. Okay. So he's like, hey, just disconnect the battery, shampoo it all out. Card was dirty. We had to clean it. So we're like, okay, yeah, no worries. We'll disconnect it. Of course, the battery, right? I'm going to tell you this because it's going to come back later, is in the trunk. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
In the trunk. So okay, great. We got to pop off all these little things to get to the battery.
Yep.
Total pain in the butt.
Yep. I've been
Disconnect
there.
the battery. Everything's disconnected. Everything's turned off. I'm like, okay, shampoo it. Make sure it's spotless. Let's make sure this guy's super happy. I'm sure it's going to dry overnight. This is Wednesday, right? So we shampoo it. It's good. I come back Thursday. It's snowing over here, by the way. So that's a snow day.
Now, what is that? What is snow?
What is snow? Oh, Dustin. Oh, I'm so sad you don't get to experience it. That's waking up at 9, and I guess
the snow stuff you speak of.
Yeah, there's 2-4 inches on the ground, and everyone's slipping and sliding all over the place. It's a mess.
Oh my gosh.
But first thing I was like, hey, let me get there early. I want to turn on this car. I want to make sure we're good.
Right.
I go. Okay, so I go. I'm like, hey, I want to turn on the car. We got to connect the battery. Well, guess what we did? We closed the trunk.
Oh shit! You can't get in the trunk because of this. Oh,
because it's an electronic trunk.
Yes.
Yep. So I'm like, okay, let's take a breath. It's got that cover, and Dustin, you can just feel Dustin's face of like.
No, because I've been here. I've lived through this shit. Like I know.
We're like, hey, it's got the cover. You know what I mean? So we can access it. We got to pop off a screw and disconnect the hydraulic thing, right?
Yeah.
We disconnect the hydraulic thing. Hydraulic thing, pops out, breaks.
Breaks.
Like, okay.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does.
I'm like, okay, $20. We can live. We'll survive, guys. We go onwards. The guys are like, oh my God, I don't even want to look at this car anymore. They're like, we connect the battery. And guess what? Everything looks good. I'm like, okay, great. It's going to cost me a little hydraulic piece for the
$20,
right? Cover of the trunk there. I'm like, okay, cool. My mistake is we never put it into gear. So I texted, I was like, hey, customer, you want to pick it up? It's snowing today. Everything's dry. Car turned on. Everything looks good. Okay. Great. He's like, you know what? Leave it till tomorrow. I'm working. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't want to mess with it.
Right.
So we're Friday now. We're today. And of all days, Parker, my son, missed the bus in the morning. Sarah was slicing a bagel, sliced her finger.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And then Parker, for some reason, he learned how to flick someone off today. You know what I mean? So he flicked off his
Uncle Dustin taught him that.
And I'm like, listen, I'm about to punt you across the room. We don't do that, right? So I'm like, okay, they starting out a little funky. Let's go to work. I go there. I'm like, okay, hey, we got a bunch of details coming in. I got to get this car out of this spot.
Yeah.
Isn't it fun being on that side of the
story?
Oh,
it's so funny right now. I'm loving this.
I pull in. I'm like, okay, hey, let me start it. I'm like, okay, cool. What? It doesn't go into gear. Because those BMWs have that electronic gear shifter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I know.
Like,
yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me right now? So now that specific car doesn't have a manual override to get it into gear.
Usually you have a little thing that you put in like neutral. You can
you can put it in neutral or do something like that. It also doesn't have any other way to start the car other than there's a push button next to it. It's just the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's just that year BMW, and it's just yawning during my story.
Really?
Not believe it. So now where we are today is we've got this BMW. We've communicated with the customer. He's been, good customer.
Yeah, he's been great. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're going to have to figure out a way to tow it. Now, of course, we don't have bays where we pull in. We're not as fancy as Dustin. We turn into our bays.
Of course you do.
Right? So we're going to have to jack it up.
Oh,
back it out.
And
then tow it and get it the heck out of here.
Oh, my gosh.
Right?
What a pain.
And that's going to be at 12:30 right after the podcast.
Right?
So the car from hell. I've never had a car that crazy, but it's how you handle it.
110%. And for me, 10%.
You know what I mean? For me, I go worst case scenario. Listen, we have camera footage. I'm going to be very transparent with the customer, show them exactly how everything went. This is where it started going sideways. When your windshield wipers when we were shampooing your passenger side.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like,
exactly. Go bananas.
Yep, there's the go bananas.
Yeah.
And then go from there and let them know, look, again, we have insurance for that 1% of 1%. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What else are you going to do? It's not worth losing sleep over. It's not worth, getting all upset. You can't control how the customer's going to react.
Well, and that's the thing. You could, if you let this cause a tailspin, then this goes on for days and weeks, and it starts to affect other vehicles. And now you can't seem to get that black cloud out from over you. And all it is a mindset. You know, this problem's happening. Like there's no turning back time and stopping this problem. What you got to do is come up with a solution that eliminates the problem, And
this is something where, again, think of it like this. There's so many detailers that watching, listening, have been through this.
Oh, absolutely.
But it can happen. Let's say you just started. It could happen on your 5th car and then not happen for 10 years. Or you can get lucky, right? And it not happen for 5 years and then something crazy
happens.
But you know what? You take it, you learn from it. And then you also make sure like, hey, okay, I'm listening to this. Dustin and Nick have been through Cars from Hell. What are the things that we have in place to make sure that the business is protected? You know what I mean? How do you react with the employees? Do you go in all hot-headed and you know what I mean? Like,
right.
How is it handled? Again, we've got insurance. It's $1,000 deductible. That's the most that's going to come out of my pocket.
Yeah. Well, isn't it an opportunity? Isn't it an opportunity for you to show your employees or your team members
we've got their back?
Yes, that you got their back, and that this is how we handle things, and this is just part of it, and we're going to move on through this, and it's not going to mess up our day or our week or our month. This is just this is out of our control. We only control what's right in front of us, and that's all. Like we can't change that, and so we only focus on what we can control, and what we control is how we handle this from this moment forward.
Yeah. So that's all I got. That's my day.
Man. Well, I've had the Cars from Hell. I've had boats from hell. I've had customers.
I guess
from hell.
You got the book Cars.
I've had employees from hell. I've been in hell before. No, listen, man, and it's a mindset. A lot of it is, and here's the one thing that I can say, and yes, because you're gonna have things come up.
Yeah.
You control what happens between here and here. You know what I'm saying? And then what happens between your ears, it affects your outcome. So if you were to just grind this thing into a pulp of negativity, it would just resonate through the team. The team's going to be miserable. You're going to hate this customer. You're going to have.
You're going to take it home. You're going to put on the family. You're just.
But if you say, hey, this is a learning curve, like you said, the worst thing that happens is this costs us $1,000, but it also allows me to speak to an inherent problem with pricing in a service-based industry.
Yeah.
How in the world can we ever price effectively when we have so many uncertainties? When there is so many variables, things that can go wrong, how can you have a pricing module that's profitable? And let me tell you something. This is the number one reason why pricing is such a big issue. It's such a big issue in our industry. It's because, and it's not just us. You think about it, anybody that has variables that's affected by the weather, that's affected by condition, that's affected by customers and what they do. If I sell a hat and this hat costs me, I don't know, call it $15, and I sell it for $30, there's not much that's going to change the profit margin. Okay, there may be an additional shipping cost. Okay, it may be handled by one extra employee, but at the end of the day, you're talking a few pennies one way. Okay, so I know gross profit. I know how many I need to sell to make X amount of dollars. I know that there's not much going to change. But a detail, you weren't sitting around expecting on a damn transmission to go out and while you were shampooing a passenger side or you weren't expecting these issues. So therefore, it's not baked into the pricing model. This is
the other part of it is, Dustin, is you build up the experience, right? And I only want to bring up experience real quick because think of it like this: when we started PPF or Tint, right? Or you're starting a new section of your business, you haven't been down that road yet. You know what I mean? The detail. You know what I mean? We've been doing it for so long. We can. You know what I mean? We put these things in place. But again, you get a customer from 5 years from now for a PPF that you did, and he's unhappy with something. right? You're going to just run into these different things of, hey, how are you going to handle them? Because you haven't done them before. And that's why for those detailers that haven't been through a car from hell, God bless you, right?
It's on its way. Trust me. You're probably laughing right now, but be careful.
Yeah, you're like, man, or it's just going to happen. And it's like, hey, can you put those things in place to make sure that you're covered?
I have begged for a car, like if I can just live through today and get this vehicle out of my sight. Like I will be the happiest man on earth when this thing leaves my building.
Well, as soon as that thing is towed out of there and the customer, I've talked to the customer and he's gone, you know what I mean? Like it's done. It's behind me. You move forward. You know what I mean? We've got 5 other details we got to do. We got 2 other tint jobs. We got a PPF getting dropped off. Like we got other shit going on. That train, get your business to a point where the train is going so quickly that these little speed bumps
in the road.
Right? It just doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? You can just railroad them.
Yeah, let's talk about something, the story inside the story and the customer. Yep. Okay, this one is cool, and you're going to have to kind of argue your point. But let's talk about the situation where the customer's not cool.
Yeah.
And they're blaming you for this as a detailer. So as our shop, we do our due diligence, right? We have 36 cameras in our shop. Yep. So we pull the tapes, right? Yep. We watch what happened. We try to proclaim our innocence. But at the end of the day, if something happens, if it happens in our care, it's your responsibility most of the time. Now, and it's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. We have a truck here, and this customer has just recently come back to us, and he may be watching the show, so here we go. A couple years ago, we detailed his brand new truck. His assistant drove the truck here.
Yeah.
All right. The truck shows up. We polish it. We coat it, whatever we did, and then we park it out front. The assistant comes and gets it because the owner is in the at home sick or something, and she drives it to the house. It sits for 3 or 4 days. Customer goes out, look at the vehicle. There's a scratch on the tailgate about 2 inches long, and it's through the paint. It's a scratch.
Yeah.
He calls us like, hey, got a problem. Had a scratch on the tailgate. No problem. So we'll check it out because maybe something happened. It could have happened.
And the one thing I'll say is, like, again, you get people saying stuff all the time about scratch, this or that. 99.9% of the time, grab your polisher, polish it out, say, hey, look, it didn't happen here, but let's talk about the solution and get them out of the way.
We'll
you know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. Yep. And it's less trouble. Like, I'm not going to go pull the tapes over something like that. We're just going to polish the little scratch and let's roll. In this instance, this was going to be like a repaint on a new truck on a tailgate, okay? So we pull the tapes, the befores and afters. There's no scratch on the before. There's no scratch on the after. There's no scratch during the detail. There's no scratch when he leaves our fence, and we have 2 cameras side by side that catch 360 degrees for this purpose.
Yep.
So we tell him, he's like, hey, here's what's going on. There was definitely not a scratch. Maybe the young girl hit something or something happened. We're sorry. Yeah. Well, he loses his mind. And
really?
Talk to me.
Yeah.
He calls me and he's like, your staff scratched my truck. And I was like, okay, hang on. I was like, so we didn't scratch. I said, listen, we didn't do the scratch, but here's what I'm going to tell you. We're going to take care of the tailgate. Yeah. I just want this to go on record that we're not claiming guilt here. We're not proclaiming our guilt. We are absolutely. I'm going to take care of. Well, I don't need you to take care of the scratch then, and blah blah blah. And he gets pissed off and he gets hangs up. So whatever. Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Well, we didn't see him for 2 years. Well, now he's back. And he's like a different person, you know what I mean? And chances are he was having a really bad day. Chances are he really thought we did it. We sent him the video. We sent him.
You put yourself in the customer's shoes, right? They didn't look at their tailgate. It had a scratch. Or they didn't check it. I always get it. I get it. You know what I mean? And you know what? I understand it more, Dustin, which is funny because we got the dog grooming side.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just the customer perspective of something that they really care about. And Dustin's just gone. He's disappeared on us.
Yeah, we lost video. I don't know if
we lost video there.
I got sound. Yeah.
But putting yourself in that customer perspective when they get that call or when they see something on their car that they didn't think was there, right? And say, hey, let's slow down. Let's figure out what's going to go on. And if there's still, a customer that's going to take it the wrong way, then just figure out what is that path of least resistance so you can keep going.
Well, that's the thing about it. What does it take to resolve the problem? What does it take to say, okay, like what makes them happy? Because I can promise you right now, an unhappy customer over a $500 tailgate or a $750 paint job on a tailgate, they will have more of an impact on you by screaming from the mountaintops how bad you suck to everybody that will listen. You know what I mean? Because you in their mind, you scratch that tailgate. No, and it don't matter. You don't get your side. You don't tell your side. You know.
Yep.
To everybody that comes in his business and he's like, don't use Easy In up there. They scratched my tailgate. And he's going to forget the fact that we sent him videos and photos that we show we didn't. Like, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
And so, like, what's that $750 worth? We pay more for that in marketing in a damn week. You know what I mean? So fix the tailgate.
Fix the tailgate, move on. You know what I mean? But again, I brought up the $1,000 deductible. You brought up a $750 tailgate. If for smaller shops.
Oh, it's a real deal.
Now it's a real deal. What do you... And I'm just trying to think out loud. Like when you're at that stage where, hey, listen, this is a big bill that I'm not going to be able to afford to handle this customer. It becomes a situation where, hey, can I get you some credit for a free detail down the road? Is it, you know what I mean? Like figuring out a way to work with the customers, and problem solve to get this problem done. Focus on the solution and move on.
No, that's what you have to do. And then becoming good friends with your body shop around town is really good because they're all the time needing something polished out or something like that. So anytime Thompson's, we have a local friend of mine, we swap work all the time. Swap work all the time. And any little piddly stuff I need down here, I send it there. He sends his stuff up here if they do something like get some spray on the car.
Hey, that's a great conversation. That's a great show. You know what I mean? Just making those relationships. Because again,
it's huge.
I got to barter a ceramic coating for some new tires on my truck. And you know what? They win, we win. You know what I mean? It's cheaper for everybody.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And then having those relationships, so when something comes up, it's not a big deal because you can tell the customer, hey, I'm going to, listen, this happened. I'm sending it down to Don. He's handling everything for us. Yeah. We'll have you rolling in 2 days. Sorry about it. I really hate this happened, but here we are.
And on top of that, like, so as soon as, the gut gets better with age because when I saw that car and when I saw that windshield going, I thought, because again, I know that car very well because I'm like, guys, we don't even wet the driver's side because it has that electronic, you know what I mean, gas pedal that has nothing but issues. There's recalls on it and whatnot.
Right. You knew this was going to be a problem.
I looked at it. I'm just like, this is gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem. I feel it. Let's do everything we can and move on. You
can do that. I can do that now with people. Like I can see somebody enter and not even talk to them. Like, you're gonna be a problem. You?
Just send it in.
Just send it in. Mike.
But you know what I did is the first thing I did was call, there's a German mechanic, right, in town. Know him real well. George, shout out George, Import Auto, right? And he only works BMW, Mercedes, Audi. And I'm like, George, I got this weird situation. You know what I mean? What? He's like, Nick, I'm going to be honest with you. You know what he told me is there's a drain. And I'm only saying this so by chance, if anyone sees this car, you know what I mean? If I can save you this headache, it's all worth it. It's all worth everything.
Give us spill the beans here because we're all of us are on the edge of our seat for this.
There's a drain where the windshield is, right?
Oh shit!
That gets clogged, right?
It backs up,
and it backs up, and right where it backs up, there's a fuse box. And guess what happened the day before the car came in?
It rained like hell.
It rained like hell.
God, the car from hell got rained on.
Think about that. And then I looked at so I talked to George. He's like, hey, check this. It's a super long shot. But this is, again, I've seen this before. And I go and I look at the drain, concrete, caked, completely caked up. I took pictures because it's like all you can do is say everything you've done in the process. And I'm like, oh my God. Again, it's fall, leaves, caked up, gunk, dirt, grime. You're going to have all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's just, I almost just laugh at it because it's like, for it to be so just one thing after another, it makes it just, and you get out of it and you move on. That's business, man. That's business.
It's business. It really is. And to expect the unexpected should be at the forefront of your mind. And you should kind of be on the lookout for those things. And people are generally more, willing to work with you than you would think. In the heat of the moment, they're not. The first thing you got to explain to your customer when they are mad about something is that we're going to take care of this. Like, because if you start to drop, here's what happened immediately, it's excuses. It's excuses. So I always preface the conversation. I start like this. No matter what, at the end of this conversation, we're taking care of this. So we can start to talk normal now, because we're going to handle this. So you take all the stress that you have and you just swallow it, because the car is going to get handled. Now I'm going to tell you what happened. Yeah. And then, and then we're going to work through this.
Yeah. Together.
And it diffuses them. And they're like, okay, I can talk like a normal human being. And
what's funny is it diffuses them 99% of the time.
99, yeah. Sometimes that just pisses
I had a crazy,
you're taking care of my shit.
I had a lady just getting a car wash right now. Again, we're doing a lot of cars a day. So you got to think it's a numbers game, Dustin. You're going to have something happen every 10,000 cars, every 100,000 cars.
Yeah,
it's just gonna, the lady had a magnet and water hit it.
Oh, yeah.
And it slid down 1 inch.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yep. Like, again, you can see it on the camera. We didn't touch it. Didn't do anything, right?
Yeah, the
slid down 1 inch. Hyundai Palisade black, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, and it created a scratch because.
Oh, yeah, because there was sand behind it, of course.
Because there's sand behind
salt, it.
Right?
Salt and sand, yeah.
We got salt, we got sand. I'm like, yeah, it definitely did.
Because that's what happens when those move.
Yeah, God forbid that moves. Dustin loves being on that side of the table of this stuff.
Oh, man.
And I'm showing it to her, and she's like, and just not absorbing anything. And I'm like, again, we polished it out. The car's brand new. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you go through everything and you're like, yeah, this isn't on us, ma'am. I'm so sorry. We'll polish your car, and then you can decide if you want to come back or not. And I'm good either way.
Yeah. So Mike's got a really good suggestion here. Mike Carlin does. He says he usually puts the vehicle on Craigslist and let the customer know that he sold his or her car, and they could buy a new one. That makes good sense.
I'm just going to start buying the cars from Hal. I'm just going to buy them.
Mike, you need to hear Mike tell you the story of the dog kennel. Up where he lives, the dog kennels are like a thing, like they're big things. I lost the video. Anyways, it's this gigantic dog kennel that he put something on. I don't remember what it was now. Anyways, it didn't stick. Something happened, and he had to scrape every square inch of this dog. But he was like, dude, I'm gonna have to buy this dog kennel. I'm gonna have to buy this dog kennel from this guy, and I don't even need a dog kennel, but here I am. And this is like a big summit you tow behind a truck. Like this ain't like a dog kennel.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of a story from a boat from hell. This is when I first started, and you mentioned like having this happening when you had no money. We had a boat show up into our bay. We had a guy call. Okay, this is when we first started. We were probably in business a year. Okay, yeah. He calls me, and it's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And there's always red flags. Friend calling, red flag. Yeah. Hey man, I need a favor.
Okay.
Hey, what you got? A guy's coming to look at my boat on Sunday to buy it. Can you detail it before he gets here? And this is like Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're full tomorrow. We don't work Saturdays. But I tell you what, bring it in. And I had one guy work. I had two guys working for me, one full-time, one part-time at the time. I said, bring it in to me. We'll take care of it. I'll get the guys to come in Saturday. We'll knock it out. This is just so extenuating circumstance. I had family in town, which caused me not to be able to be down there the Saturday morning when they started the boat.
God. Yep.
So everything's good. Everything's fine. They start detailing this boat Saturday morning. The guy's working night shift. He's asleep. It's Saturday morning. We're detailing the boat. They're detailing the boat. I show up. I stand on the back, and it's the boat with the engine inside of it that has this big like cubby thing that covers it, like console.
Yep.
Huge console. Anyways, the guy is detailing down in the bilge under the engine, and I stand on the back of the boat, and he lifts it to show me what he's doing. Well, those things usually have a hydraulic arm or a cable or something. Yep. Well, when he lifts it, it gets past the point of like no return.
Yeah.
And the weight starts to go, and he grabs it, and he's trying to hold it down, and I'm like trying to hold it. And dude, it comes off the back of the boat, it's fiberglass. it rips the fire. Dude, it sounded like ripping a piece of paper in a.
Oh, I feel better being on the side of this. Yeah.
Dude, he's showing the boat in the morning for sale.
No.
This is like, you should, like, it's like taking a Sawzall to this boat and cutting this thing. I'm like, I'm going to have to buy this fucking boat. And I can't buy this boat.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the panic. So I call him, look, and I didn't know his night shift. I call his wife, answers. She's like, hello. And I'm like, hey, is so-and-so there? She's like, yeah, he's
ready
asleep.
to make that call.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, he's asleep. He's been on night shift. Should I wake him up? I'm like, yeah. You should probably wake him up.
Go get him.
Oh, but before I called him, I'll tell you what I did. I went ahead and I'd called a gel coat guy. I'd got lucky and knew a gel coat guy. I sent him pictures of it. He's like, yes, I can fix it. All right, so I had this in my back pocket. Yeah. So when you propose a problem, you'd better go ahead and propose a solution right behind it, especially if it's obviously your fault, right?
Yeah.
So I call him. I'm like, hey, man, this happened. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's miserable, I know. But, the good news is I got a guy that's going to fix it. He can be here today to pick it up. It's going to be like next week. Well, I got a guy that's coming to look about. And I said, well, you could show it to him. It's clean. It's just missing a part. And I said, you can show the boat, here at my lot. I said, I'll let the guy come get it the next day. Within a week, we'll have this thing fixed up for you. And he was like, all right, man, I don't know how they'll ever fix it, And I'm like, me either, but I didn't say that. Anyway, so we get the boat, dude. Listen, we get the boat, get it fixed. The guy buys the boat.
Yeah.
We fix it. They bring it back, and it looks so good, man. We cleaned it up, polished it all out. Like, oh, my gosh, what a miracle.
They should have just sold it without the piece.
But do you know that guy he's been back, and every time he comes back, it's always a little something. I ended up having to tell him, dude. I had to tell him a few years ago. I was like, I'm friends with you, but please don't come back.
Yeah.
Because like whatever it is that you got and you have going on with your life is affecting my life.
Yeah.
Your business is no good.
You know what's funny is like the two instances, right? We were there, right?
Yeah.
Now, for I think both of us, right? I spent the last month at Expel or at SEMA. We're traveling a lot. So think about what happens when you've got the vehicle from hell and you're not there. That's when it really becomes a real headache, because you can have the best team in place.
Expensive headache.
Yeah, best team in place, but that is the one thing that you don't train. You can't train. You can't train how to handle some of these vehicles from hell, because it's just until you have that experience of dealing with the customer. Can you problem solve on your feet to be like, hey, what are the things we need to do so it does, you know what I mean? Can we resolve this? Who do we call? You know what I mean? I called my towing guy. He's like, I know 2 towing guys in town.
Yeah.
Do all their trucks and whatnot. I'm like, hey, Gary, I got this car from hell.
He's like, I already know what you're talking about. I've had one too.
He starts laughing. I'm like, Nick, wishing nothing but the best. We love you guys over there. But you got to go call, a larger towing company because you got to put on jacks. And he just know, you know what I mean? When you're just like, yeah, no worries, we'll have it handled. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's just funny.
You sound like the guy off of Pawn Stars. Like, I got a guy because you got to have a guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, you gotta have a guy. Fiberglass. Yeah, I didn't even know I needed a fiberglass guy, but
dude,
you
gotta have a fiberglass guy. So look, notables, takeaways from this. If you're a shop owner and
if you have a gut feeling that a car is a car from hell, just turn it away. Just turn it away.
Don't even pay the rent that month. Just say screw it. I'm not gonna pay the rent because I'm not taking this car. No, if something happens, okay, do your due diligence. What pictures do you have in place? What is there anything that you've done to CYA, cover your ass, before pictures, after pictures, cameras in place? I'm not a waivers guy. I don't know if you guys are. No.
I like doing business mouth to mouth.
Me too.
I mean? I just really, and I tell people like, hey, we don't have a waiver. This is a risky situation. If it goes sideways, it goes sideways. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I'm going to tell them that. And I'm going to be like, listen, we'll cross that bridge when it comes, but I don't like, I believe in the work that we do.
Releasing of their liability or our liability. It's like,
sign their life
how, is that really going to hold up?
Car? No.
Yeah. Anyway, so you do your research. You find out if you caused the problem. then also try to have a solution lined up. If you feel like you're going to have to cover this at some level, go ahead and have a solution lined up before you get there, if that's possible.
Yeah.
When the customer gets there, disarm them. Let them know from Jump Street where you stand in this thing without making excuses. Everything you say to them about how you didn't do it is just an excuse that sounds like you did.
They don't hear it. It sounds terrible. Yeah.
Yep. So disarm them by saying, hey, no matter what, we're going to do X, Y, Z to fix this problem.
I just say, no matter what, we're going to be there for you. Yeah. No matter what, we're here. We're not going anywhere.
I always say that. We're not going anywhere.
No, don't steal my line, Dustin.
I have it wrote down in my book right over here. We're not going anywhere. That's line 1. We're not. I said, anytime you come from, I say, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. And then, again, so for me, it's just that number one thing every single guy in the shop knows: communication. Something weird, you see a scratch, you see it, whatever it is, I don't even care. Take a picture, send it to the customer, text them immediately. That's why we pay for the cell phone there. Like, you're going to talk to that customer, and I would rather you bother them at work and be like, hey, I noticed this, or this light is on. I want to let you know before we start, right? Yep. Communication. And then the second part, when it goes sideways, is transparency. You know what I mean? Let them see the camera. Let them talk to the detailer. Let them go. Whatever they need to do to disarm them is super important, to give them that sense of, hey, look, don't take words, see the actions. You know what I mean? See the video. And then the last thing is I like to think worst case scenario. Okay, worst case scenario. Okay, we pay for insurance to cover us if there is any liability. I let the customer know, like, hey, look, we can go through the insurance route. I'm gonna send them the video. I'm gonna send them the picture. And then if they see that there is no negligence, you're not getting any money. Right? So you have to also keep that in mind. And I'm gonna communicate that with the customer. I would rather pay for half of something that's not our fault and that customer leaving happy than them going through insurance, not getting a nickel, and resenting the business.
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying?
No question about it.
Yeah.
No question about it. You got to keep the good relationship because it's worth more than you think.
See that? Clip that, Chris. Right there. That's the clip. That's the clip of the week.
Okay, enough of the shitty talk. Let's talk about something that's good going on. Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so we have holidays coming up, and so we will not be with you guys on Friday. We'll be here in spirit. Maybe we could do a pre-recorded thing Wednesday or something like that.
I'll jump on. Do a little turkey talk.
Yeah, we'll do a little turkey talk. So scratch that. We won't be live, but we'll come to you guys on Friday at the same time.
Yeah.
We'll just pre-record a show.
Let's do it. Just
all right, man. Well, any questions or
I want to hear someone else's. Just put the make and model of the vehicle car that you just are scarred by. You know, drop it in the comment. What is that car, that boat, that RV that you're like, I never want to see that car again?
Man.
Oh, what's going on, Chris? Chris just knocked out an amazing tint page on our website. Just give him a shout out there. Yeah, we just got that live. And you know what?
Nick Roman, he can't take my title.
No, I can't take that. I could put and. I'll just put and next time. And Nick Roman. The doesn't and Nick Roman.
Chris is a good buddy of ours, man. Love Chris to death. And yeah, he's a good dude. If you need a website, go check him out.
Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, he's awesome. All right, cool. Anything else? Good afternoon. Great week so far. Let's finish off strong. That's right, Anthony. What?
Hold on. Put Scott's up there. Let me see what he. Scott's got a car. Scott's got a car.
Nissan Altima, the car from hell.
The car from hell.
Is that like all Nissan Altimas or just one? Like
there's one year, one model. I'm sure. I guarantee he remembers the color. The color and the smell. There's something that happened.
Dude, you can't forget. Yeah, no, there's your jobs you don't forget. Like they stay with you your entire life.
Yeah.
In that moment, your whole world's crashing. It's not that bad. It just needs a wipe down. Damn, have you been to our shop, Anthony?
It's just a quick wipe down. We got
it's not that bad.
Okay.
Oh, man. Great show as always, brother.
It's a good time. Good time.
Hey, I got a little tidbit I'll give you. This is something I'm hung up on. I've been hung up on it for a few months. I'll give it to you.
Should we save it for the show?
Huh?
Should we save it for the next show?
Yeah, we'll save it for the next show.
You want to tease it? Just give us a one word.
It's
How can you word it? Word it one way?
No, I'll tell you what. I'll elaborate on the next show. But here's what I'm gonna tell you. Okay. This is what I want you to remember. And I want you to remember this for the rest of your life. Know their name. Know their pain. Okay?
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. Know their name, know their pain.
And cut. See you next week.
See you next week.